Hello, wonderful people, wherever you are in the world today. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're still with us and that you are sharing some energy with me today and with my special guest. I am your host, Salenna Green. This is the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. If this is the first episode you ever, listen to and you're just like, I'm going to start here, well, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And I hope you stick around and find some other conversations um, that can that have something to offer you, that can give you something. So today I am joined by the lovely Bianca. I actually met her at the first ever podcast conference that I went to. I have a video on my TikTok about that. If it's still around, like if you know, you know. Go check that out. But it was really wonderful running into Bianca. That podcast conference was an experience for sure. And I was really grateful to have made this connection. And now here we are, and we're about to talk about affirmations.
Yeah.
So, Bianca, please introduce your beautiful self to the people, and then let's get into this conversation.
Well, thank you so much, Salenna, for having me here and for being such an amazing light at that conference and just having that energy that I was so attracted to and for calling me beautiful. Thank you so, so much. I'm Bianca Lynn. I am a podcaster, a life coach. I am a media producer, a content creator. I am a silly girl, a Jersey girl. I'm someone who loves to laugh and smile and make the best out of the day. I've been really working on my introduction of like splitting between what it is that I do and who I am because they're like combined. So that's why I was kind of like looking around like, oh, what should I say? It's something I'm like actively working on, as you see, like in the moment.
No, that's so real because how we introduce ourselves and who we are, like, it says a lot. I actually try to do the same. I try, especially because in our society, like the larger society that we have, like what your job is and like, all that is like sometimes what people want to know. And a lot of the times that is tied to how valuable are you to me? Like, what can I get from you to help me move ahead? And so by kind of shifting that and being like, I'm a silly person, I was like, oh my God, I am too. Like, we have so much in common.
Yes.
Like, I just love that so much. And it allows the parts of you that are really important to shine because the job that we work can change. But
Mm-hmm.
who we are, like being that silly person, I hope that never goes away, sis.
Yes, me too. Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. And that really like opens up the conversation immediately to affirmations because how you feel about yourself is really related to if and how you affirm yourself. Like, is affirming yourself even something that you do? How did you get into, this journey of affirmations?
Well, first, before we start, I just want to say really quickly, I live near the fire station and airport. So if you ask me a question and I'm quiet, it's because I'm on mute and then I'll get back to it. I forgot to mention that. So I just want to say that. Okay. So how did I first get into affirmations? I honestly can't really remember. I've always loved music. And so I always kind of resonated with certain songs that were talking about things like having a lot of money or, being the baddest or the prettiest. So I definitely want to say it probably started there, like within that realm. So as a child, but I want to say college is where I really started to be mindful of keeping track of certain quotes that I would hear or, phrases or Bible verses as I kind of just got older and was a little bit more mindful of those things. I think that's really where it started, where I started saying them every day. And then when I graduated college, I really was in the practice of affirmations because I graduated after the economy crashed in 2008. I graduated in 2011, but it was still the aftermath of the economy crash. So it was really hard to find a job. I graduated in 2011 and then I didn't start working in the industry until March 2012. So that was a long time. And I thought so many things. So I really started leaning into the affirmations to be like, you went to school for a reason and like you'll find a job and those type of things.
Oh, I love that. I actually never thought of Bible verses as affirmations, but if I'm actually thinking about the first things that I told myself or quotes that I picked out that were affirming, it actually was Bible verses. So that's interesting. Um, so yes, my journey with affirmations was kind of similar. Like I did start off in that way as well, but it was kind of in my high school time actually that I really needed to start affirming myself and who I am and just being okay with that. I went to like a very predominantly white, like upper middle class type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like and there were not a lot of black people there either. So I remember, like growing up, I really was deeply invested in minding my own business. And so it took me a while to really notice the people around me and like what, like, child, I had enough going on in my own life. I can't begin to care about what y'all doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in high school, I was finding like, a little bit older, like, things had slowed down a little bit. So I was like, hold on. Y'all's parents be making a lot more money
Mm-hmm.
actually. I'm like, how are y'all affording these vacations to Mexico every year for your whole family? Like, I've never even been on a vacation before. Like, I started to notice like those differences. And so I then did have to start affirming myself. And it was never about like how much money my family made. Like, it could never be material things. So my first affirmations were always about, like, I deserve joy. I am, I am,
Mm-hmm.
those very basic things, those inherent values that we have. Like I started there with knowing that I'm inherently valued despite any kind of material structure that I, have to operate within.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you were able to do that at a young age. I wish I was more mindful of that. And I love that you were able to start with yourself because a lot of times or maybe not a lot of times. I've been also been trying to be mindful of making like general statement for a bunch of people also. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing I'm in the moment doing. But I will say, I'll go back to it. It's okay, Bianca, you're not perfect. A lot of times we start to like respond to our environment. We don't necessarily think about ourselves, So people who are living in projects or, just I'm thinking about myself. People who are like unemployed, for instance, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh, all I'm thinking about is I want money and I want a job. I want like just that material. I don't always immediately think about okay, well, I'm worthy of this position and these are the things that I bring to the table. That took me some time to get to that like introspection rather than just reacting to the external.
Oh my God, that's so real. And I feel like that was like almost like a specific conversation I was having with the universe because with my affirmations, I used to be like, oh, like I want financial stability and I want abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the universe kept on saying to me, like, be more specific. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, wanting abundance in my life is specific. And the universe was like, be more specific. And I was like, I want to work for myself. I want sponsorships from these people for these events that I'm putting on. I want to go to a podcast conference. That was an affirmation. That was a manifestation. Like I did not know how that was going to happen. But as I was very specific about what I was affirming for my life, then it was more easy, I think, for me to see the path and
Mm-hmm.
see the opportunities that I was supposed to take versus the ones that, not right now or not for me, like that's going to be taking me off my path or what have you. So being specific is real. Like you have to know more than you don't want to be in the situation you're in right now. You got to know what situation you do want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like it's like such a slight perspective shift because the way your energy is when you're thinking like, oh, I need this, I want this, versus like this is going to come in the timing that it's meant to. So what do I have to be grateful for right now?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful change in perspective.
I definitely relate to that in terms of sitting back and recognizing the gratitude. But I will say being specific is challenging to me when it comes to
Mhm.
certain affirmations and um, just like visioning, because I will get attached to the details.
Mm. Mm.
So if I'm specific of like, I'm going to go to the Janet Jackson concert in June, and then if I don't go, I'm devastated.
Oh my God.
Devastated. I should have just said, and I want to go to see Janet Jackson and be open to seeing how the universe, she could be everywhere. But if I don't go in June, and I'm like, even though I know better, there's certain things I can't be specific about. So I've been
Yes.
learning, because it's true. You should be specific, because you can say abundance and then you get an abundance of flies in your house or like ants, not coins in your bank account. So I get it, but I be getting too
The
sad.
balance is so real because, girl, you are speaking my life to me right now. That's why I'm like, girl, stop. Shit, I didn't like get you loud, but no, that's so real because I did the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm getting this amount by this day, maybe too specific,
Mhm. Mhm.
because then it's like it's almost like we dipped into the control part
Yes.
where it's like we don't actually have control over those
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So it's like we got to be specific within what we really actually have control about, but not you reading my life.
Yes. And that when you said, being specific and then like allowing it to come to you, like that, I resonate with that. And that's what I try. That's the conversation in the moment where I'm like, Bianca, allow, just allow. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's more important, seeing Janet Jackson or June?
Right.
You know? But it's tough
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yes. And maybe it's that not right now because in June there's something else that you need to be
Mhm.
doing. You know what I mean? So it's just like being open to the abundance of possibilities and the fact that we don't know exactly what that thing is, but just trusting that there is a good thing there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of the shift that I've been trying to enjoy. And honestly, that balance, right? And being specific, but also realizing what is kind of not something you should be being specific about.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
me and those dates, because girl, I'm a Virgo. I'm like, okay, so by this date, and then like learning that my strategic plan is something that I'm gonna be visiting often and
Mhm.
changing, as someone who's running a business. I get those dates, girl, those specifics. I'm like, but we were supposed to, and we
Mhm.
said that we were gonna, and then the people I'm working with are like, yeah, but this is what's happening, right? And I'm like, you right, we about to adjust,
Yeah.
and then okay,
We
and
can.
it's not
Yep.
failure, and
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. That kind of brings me to the unlearning and relearning part of affirmations because you're kind of constantly editing your affirmations to be more relevant or to kind of be what you need in that moment.
Mhm. Yeah. I really I love that component of it because it just really shows you your growth and where you're at in life or whatever like type of situations that you're going through. I was talking to my friend yesterday about just what like this past year has been like for me, and I was saying how I'm just really grateful, even though there's been a lot of uncertainty and things that may not be according to like my specific plan. But I've just been so grateful to have like this moment of slowness to be able to really put in that work of like, okay, how are you feeling? What is it that you need to say in this moment to yourself? Because the drama, the slowness, the ups and downs are always going to be a part of life. Like, I'm going to be sad again. There's going to be something that devastates me. Someone's going to break my heart again. But looking back at how I've handled it, especially in terms of like, it's okay. And let's go to the affirmations again. And that's just been really great for me now. And I think because I've had a lot of downs, quote unquote, it's all about perspective, but this year really hasn't been ideal in terms of like, losing my job and not finding work. trying to build a platform in terms of my podcast and starting a life coaching business. You know, entrepreneurship is not always easy, and you put in a lot of work and you're excited about things, and you don't see the return of your investment immediately. So putting my all into that and being like, dang, that maybe it's not so well received. Like there's just been like a lot right now, being single and trying to date, getting ghosted and being like, dang, you know, like, oh my gosh, you know? So the fact that it's a lot right now, I really have no escape, which has been a struggle. But because of that, no having nowhere to escape, I really have to be like, I don't have nowhere to turn when these conversations and the self talk starts to get negative. So I really have to combat this thing right now. And so I am today happy for it. If you would ask me this like last week, last Tuesday, I wouldn't have been happy about it and going through the process. But I've just been really grateful for it in terms of learning and relearning. I hope that answered the question or
Oh, absolutely.
addressed it. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, it did. And it really reminds me of the journey when it comes to editing your affirmations. Like or just like calling on certain affirmations when you need to. Sometimes you are really about this kind of thing for this time and that's what all the affirmations that you are employing are related to. Like literally when I first started with affirmations, all of my affirmations when I first started intentionally, I should say, were just about speaking more nicely to myself.
Mhm.
Like that is what I was working on. So I was just doing that. And if I needed to combat something that I had said to myself with an affirmation that was directly related to the last thing that just went through my mind, then yeah, I did that too. And now, some of those speak nicely to yourself affirmations. I only use those every once in a while now. Like I'm pretty good. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
might not need those as much right now. Now it's like about affirmations about knowing that I can build the life that I want and that I'm doing that and that I deserve that and that I'm worthy. You know what I mean? It's so your affirmations really can grow with you. They can go through all the stages of life with you and you can pull out back out those old ones when you need them.
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely. I have a list of affirmations. I mean, naturally I have an affirmations podcast. So, oh, do you hear that? The
Hey,
sirens.
I
The
can
sirens are
hear them a
going.
little
You
bit.
don't hear
Yeah,
them? Is
they're
it does
faint.
it matter?
No, they're faint. They're not louder than you. So
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, I have a list of affirmations naturally because I have an affirmations podcast. So I try to keep track of the different themes and things. But it's really I love it before prior to having the affirmations podcast. I'm not a Virgo, I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm a Virgo rising and I'm very organized. And so I had like I had my little affirmations in places. And so it's great to be like, I could go to this when I'm feeling this type of way and go to this when I'm feeling that type of way.
yes, I love that. And that was the other thing that really like attracted me to you at the podcast conference was that when I was hearing people talk about their podcasts to other people because like no one wanted to talk to me, but that's a separate thing.
I want to talk to you.
A lot of people had like review podcasts is I guess the category that I would call that. But there was not a lot of healing or wellness podcasts being represented. So when I ran into you, I was like, huh. Like I found the
Mhm.
needle in the haystack. I found the other person here who has a healing and wellness focused podcast. And like we brown. Like look at us out
Mhm.
here doing this, like holding space and carving lanes for wellness in our community. Like it's everything and it's so beautiful and it's affirming. Experiences can be affirming, connections can be affirming. I hope that people in your life are affirming. um and affirmations can come from those people too, is something that I found as I've kind of shifted and changed the people that I allow closest to me. Like I get affirmed all day long from people around me.
Yes, I love that. That's so deserving. I think that more people probably do, but what I've been finding is that a lot of times we don't really look around. We like think so far ahead, we don't really stop to observe and see like what's affirming around us.
Mm.
Sometimes and I had to get to that level. Like things will affirm us as well. I wonder like, man, because I'm single, like, oh man, well, do I have because I've been so single for this long. Sometimes I'm like, do I know how to be present in a relationship, or can I take care of things? Like, oh, I really recognize how much selfish thinking and actions I have. And I wonder like, dang, like am I willing to give that up even when thinking about doing work now? I need to make some income. I'm like, dang, I don't want to give up my podcast. Like I'm like very me right now. So when I think about those things and then I look around and I see like the plants in my house and I'm like, oh, wow, look at how this plant is blooming. I do know how to take care of something that's living and thriving and pay attention to it and address it when is dead, or see when I've been neglectful and talking to it and things like that. So I think if we like there's always something there around us. It's really about your perspective. And losing my job and spending a lot of time alone because friends are at work. Don't get me wrong, I have a social life. I'm out and about. I love hanging out. Last night I took myself out to see Tamia and Joe in concert. So like I be outside, I do these things, but when people are at work for long periods of time, I can't just call up somebody in the middle of the day and be like, come and talk to me. So I had to like realize and see and look around, and then I got into my plants.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That is so good. And that's that other part of being present. Like being present allows you to be affirmed by the things around you. Um, for me, this affirmation, like I am safe, has been huge for me. And sometimes like I get to say that affirmation for myself because I'm just being present and I realize like, oh, like I'm in a safe space right now. Like I feel very comfortable. I feel very relaxed. Those are
Mm-hmm.
affirmations for me because I spent a lot of time not even realizing that my nervous system was like always being triggered. Like I was always being in
Mm.
fight or flight mode and I had really high anxiety. And so like having come to a space where I've learned to control or, um, moderate those things
Oh
much
no, you
more, I'm
froze.
like, wow, like I feel so safe right now. That's such a beautiful thing for me. I feel so supported in this moment. And it's like this tie to of gratitude and affirmations. Like once you just start stating things that you're grateful for, you find that wow, these are all like affirming statements.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's beautiful. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the healing. Like, let's talk about what affirmations have, or the change that affirmations have kind of led you to.
So lately, like I would I really started off a lot with like I am affirmations. And early on in my like intentional like creating and like saying the affirmations. And now I've been telling myself like it's okay. So it's like I know all those things and now I have to kind of like remind myself, and like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to try and it not work out in your favor. Those have been the things, because I think I've done so much talking and like building myself up. It's hard to understand why something's not going to work out, because I did the research. I waited until I was supposed to do this. I studied it, I gave it my effort. I practiced. Like I, I did everything quote unquote right. So I have that confidence in my abilities to do the things, but it's just kind of like the timing, or maybe that just wasn't, what the purpose of doing that action or that task was for, those type of things. So that's where I'm at now. Like, you're human. You shouldn't change your perspective or like your strategy, because sometimes I'm like, all right, well, maybe the way I did it isn't the only way. Am I too rigid in my thinking? Like, I can be open to trying things in another way.
Mhm.
um but even then, it goes back to like perfectionism. I've been like really struggling with that. And so just telling myself, like, it's okay. And you can try it a different way. But when you feel like you want to try it a different way, what is it that you want to try differently? Is it the approach, or like just make sure it's not changing something that's the essence of me? And that may be what I may want to change. Like, you shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have been so forgiving. You should have just ghosted them. Like, those are not things that really resonate with me. So, like, just being mindful to not change that versus.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so real. I actually just kind of had an experience like that. On Friday, I went to there's like a Black Wellness Week happening right now in Seattle, and a part of it was this Black Wellness dinner that I went to, and at the dinner we all got to talking, and like I do tend to run my mouth, so I was talking too, and after the event was over, and like it was literally like this morning, or yesterday morning, I woke up and I was like thinking about everything, and I was just like, oh man, I probably like talked too much. Like, I'm sure somebody thought I was obnoxious or something. And just having those intrusive or negative thoughts that can come. And I was like, nah, it's cool. Like, I was just being myself. I did not take over any conversation. I answered a prompt when it was asked. Like, I kind of like combated those thoughts and like was honoring the essence of me, as you're kind of saying. And then I was even affirmed, like someone messaged me and like just said, nothing like, she wasn't like gushing on me or anything, but just said like it was good to meet you, and I appreciated like your words, or I'm paraphrasing, your perspective
Hmm.
or whatever. She just like kind of affirmed like that you said something. And I was like, oh my God, like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like people
Yeah.
don't even know, the way that just like a few words from them can be so affirming to someone else. And I have no assumptions about, the amount of energy that it required from her to say that, or, if it meant anything to her at all. I don't
Hmm.
have any assumptions about that. I just know it meant a lot to me. And it
Hmm.
was just a couple of sentences. So affirmations, being open to them, being present so you're able to, see affirmations when they're around you, and then honoring yourself and knowing that like fundamentally who you are is never going to be what you need to change.
Hmm. Hmm. And I love that, how quickly you received that affirmation, about how you were feeling. To me, just really indicates and shows just kind of like a resistance free pathway to like your energy to God's, because you started feeling some type of way. And that could have just been, internal. Maybe you thought about it for like 5 minutes, but
Hmm.
like, God, I'm saying God, that's just the word that's coming to mind for anybody who's listening who may not identify with God, but source. But that was just like what I felt,
Hmm.
when you said that, like, wow, your energy, your connection with source was so open that they immediately knew what you needed and gave it to you specifically for that moment. Someone who was actually there, because you could have gotten an affirmation about being more than enough, and having such a great personality from someone else. You could have had a conversation at like the grocery store, and someone could have given that to you, that could have applied to also how you were feeling about that experience. But for it to be directly related to it, it just seems like, wow, like her pathway's open.
Yes. Well, I love to hear that. And it did feel that way. I actually do try to purposefully cultivate my connection to the universe or the creator or God, um because I feel like, the creator is the one who makes you know that you are worthy. The reason why we pursue affirmations, the reason why I pursue my healing is because there's an inherent knowing in me that says that I'm worthy of being loved. I'm worthy of my own love. I'm worthy of the best case scenarios in my life. And so I believe that, and I've tried to cultivate this conversation. I always tell my husband, like, I'm in this conversation with the universe. Like, we have this little thing we're doing. It's real cute. Like, and so, yes, like, thank you for affirming that. Like, this is purposeful and intentional. And I always try to be open for a sign that I'm loved by the universe. And that's on a good day and a bad. You know what I mean? Like, I will sometimes be like, oh my God, like, today has been a lot. I just don't feel it. Like, please, universe, like, just please send me something. And it will. So, people, I encourage you, just test it out. I always tell people, like, because when you're used to thinking negatively, like when someone tells you, like, oh, try an affirmation, you'd be like, anyway, like, I got real problems, you know?
Yes. I
That's
have a friend that's like that.
and that's relatable too. But you gotta
Yeah.
start small.
I know, and I tell my friends who, like, I had this one friend, they sent me like a meme or something where this guy was like, I'm just gonna go outside and manifest something, and he's like I'm gonna say this, and like and like something popped up, like I'm using my mind, and I'm just like,
Baby, yeah,
okay.
ain't there on the first day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. But like I have thought negatively. Like I've been very depressed. There was a time in my life where I cried for like 14 months straight. Every day I cried. Like I was depressed. I had the lowest self-esteem. And so I feel like I was able to get here because I've had some really dark, deep lows. So it's definitely possible. And that's why I like to tell people to like, what's your favorite song? Because if you are listening to this song and maybe you're not trying to hear what I'm trying to say, this is your favorite song for a reason. You're singing these lyrics, like, put on your favorite music then and let that help you to like, lift your mood. What's your favorite love song? What's your favorite song that makes you feel, what do you play before the big game if it's a guy, like what's that song that like, and then what is it that they're saying? Then I'll like try to look up the lyrics depending on how difficult my friend is in grasping this, just to kind of like peel back the layers of showing. And that tends to help with some of my friends who have challenges in like the belief of affirmations.
That's so huge what you just said, because my sister has an affirmations playlist and I was like, girl, share me that. It's on Spotify, so it was really easy for her to do it. But like, yeah, I started to notice that when I was in the car with her. I'd be like, this is a bop, but hold on, like, it's saying something to me too.
Yeah. Yes. It's so
That's so
powerful.
cool. Yeah, and any song that is saying to you something that you need to hear, it can be an affirmation song. It doesn't have to be called the affirmation song. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
a lot of different like songs that will just be
Sorry,
like
it's
different
frozen.
rappers. Oh,
What did you say? What was the last thing you said? I hear you now.
I was just saying that there's and that's good to know because I was wondering earlier. But there's a lot of different songs who can just be by whoever, different genres, but this person has put together a song that is literally going to pour into you. And they might not even know that they wrote an affirmation song. It might just be they had a good day and they want to tell you how they feeling in that moment. But whatever the reason is behind it, there's a lot of artists out there who have affirmation songs.
Yes, definitely. My affirmations playlist, I have some songs that are a little like very much affirmation, like mindset, like I get what I want. I'm having a great day, like things
Yeah.
like that. And then there's other songs that I deem to be like affirmation songs, and it'll be like just love songs, certain songs that just make me feel really romantic. I'm like, oh yeah, this is on my manifestation playlist, for me and my boo or whatever, having like a really great day. Or whenever I'm working out, I always play Survivor by Destiny's Child. That is my affirmation. Like, you're a survivor, you're gonna make it. Keep on going.
We just checked.
Um Yeah, like get to that workout. And I'm sure, I mean, Beyonce wrote it, so she's so like empowering. So I'm sure maybe she thought of it as an affirmation, but I never really thought about it in that way until I like when I'm at the gym. That's when I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is really when it taps in. So it's interesting too to see when you even get into that mode of like what it is that you're doing when you think about the music.
Wow, no, say that because this affirmations playlist, like some of the songs are like, I'm just having a good day. Some of them are like, I feel good in who I am. Like, I'm a bad bitch. The other ones are like, I am divinely connected. The universe
Mm-hmm.
don't play about me. Like, all these different ways to be affirmed. And then in the gym, I swear that's like where everybody's true affirmation playlist lies, is the gym. Because those gym songs are always like, go out and get it. You a bad
Mm-hmm.
bitch. You got this. Like, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And to a high beat. So like,
Yep. You got the body. Like, let's go.
yes,
Yeah.
motivating. Oh, I love it. It's so good. Okay, let me see. Um, is there any last things though, or anything else that you feel like we haven't said about affirmations? Because I know, like, you have a whole affirmations podcast. I consider you the expert here.
um, One thing, as the only thing that comes to my mind when I think about money affirmations,
Mm,
because scarcity mindset is real, especially in like I believe Black communities or communities where it's like low socioeconomic um, or financial literacy,
mm-hmm.
and so um, actually like hip hop really helped me to really change my mentality around money.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the lyrics, they're always talking about having so much money and balling out on people. And then honestly, there's this song, I can't think of the song, but it's like a Kanye and Jay-Z song, and I think he's like Rihanna's a billionaire, Kanye, Jay, LeBron, Beyonce, or something like that. Jay-Z's dropping how everybody got all this money. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, they all have $1 billion and they don't share $1.
I'm so glad you said it because I sure was about to get there. I'm like, that sure is a lot of billionaires for our community to be in the position it is, but let me mind my business.
Yeah, and they don't share $1. So there's more than enough out there for us. And I think about where they have came from, and not all of them had money at their leisure,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some of them got money illegally and all those things. Okay, fine. But they started from the bottom, like a lot of people who listen to their music may have, and there's more than enough out there. So that's just like my last little tidbit of like just the music and money. I don't know why I felt like prompted to talk
Oh,
about that.
that's so real. Like, honestly, affirmations around money are also something that is currently really relevant to me and something that I'm talking to myself a lot about. I realized a few years ago that my relationship to money was not healthy. I was engaging with money in a way that like was a scarcity mindset. And so affirmations was part of the way that I changed my relationship with money. I started saying things like, money loves being with me. I have a healthy relationship with money. I release any negative ties or associations that I have with money. Money loves being saved by me. Money loves being allocated by me. I have money, like
Mhm,
actually
mhm.
sometimes it's simple. So that's actually really real for me. Like for me and the economy and the planet, there's really no such thing as an ethical billionaire. So I don't want to ever be a billionaire. When people say they want to be a billionaire, I'm like side eye in the situation, because I'm like, why not just be someone who's financially stable and who has like enough, who has everything that they need? Like, why do you need to be a billionaire, which inherently means we're hoarding and, having just way more than any one person ever needs. So yes, with money, we absolutely need to be affirming a healthy relationship with money, one where there's balance, one where you don't have so much money that you don't have community. truly. So, or
Mm-hmm.
that you can only exist in community with other people with a lot of money is also something that I don't really want to, I don't aspire to that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, absolutely, affirmations around money can help you change your perspective with money and the way that you handle it. I never really liked the word budgeting. I never liked the idea of just saving for a rainy day. Like, why am I stocking up money until something bad happens in my life? But when
Mm-hmm.
I got to thinking about planned spending and,
Mm-hmm.
how do I make my money make more money for me? How do
Mm-hmm.
I breathe life and into a situation where money isn't the object, but or money's not the point, but money is a tool for the point that I'm trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Taking that emphasis off of the money and thinking more about like, okay, what do I actually want the money can provide?
Yeah, what can the money do? Yeah, that also has helped me as well. And I felt that way too about being a billionaire. But what happens, or what if you create something and it just literally brings in billions of dollars? I think of Rihanna, for instance. I don't think that Rihanna wanted to be a billionaire. I think she really wanted inclusivity with makeup,
Mm-hmm.
and that is really what got her like to that level. Like I don't, I think like in some, like what if you had a product, maybe it's not to $1 billion, or a service or something, and like it just
Like
got
I
you so
get
much money. But because you have these intentions and you know how you want to use it,
it. Hmm.
like you may be a great resource for money to come because your intentions are to help your community, and you would be pouring those resources into the community.
Yeah, I get that. It's just that like when people are a billionaire, that's not usually what they're actually doing.
Yeah, well,
Um,
no, I get it for the billionaire perspective. I was just
yeah,
curious.
I'm like specifically, I'm just talking about being a billionaire and the amount of money that you have to hoard to even like $1 billion is a lot of money, right? Like a billion is a million million. Like that is a
Mhm.
lot of money. And from what I've heard on the street, like now Fenty don't come for me, but what I heard on the street, the articles are not saying that they're just like treating their employees so good and like the factory workers are just
Um,
being paid like such good livable wages and like you know what I mean? Like there tends to be
mhm,
a pattern with this.
mhm,
And a lot of the pattern includes human exploitation. And so
mhm,
I'm like, if yeah, sure, maybe. I mean, I don't know of every billionaire in the world. Maybe there is a
mhm,
billionaire where every employee that works for them makes a livable wage, is treated with respect, has, you know, their labor laws
mhm.
that are like working in their benefits and, their union if they want that. I don't know
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
But
I feel that.
I'm just saying I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that's true. I am naive to a lot of things like that, because I don't mind being naive about certain things.
No, that's real.
I'm like, ugh, I just please, it just I'll get too sad.
No,
So
that's real.
I'm being honest and gonna wave that naive flag for that. But I just think of it. This is my general thinking, also too, pulling the curtain back of just like, okay, well, if I get a lot of money, I won't say how much money I want because I do have strong desires to help the community and live a life that I want to live, and helping the community. I see it has no bounds. So it's like I always want the money for that.
Yeah.
One thing also too I want to say about affirmations, that was really helpful for me in manifesting the things that I want, because sometimes we get so caught up on saying them all the time, and then when our reality isn't what we've been saying, that's a struggle. Like
Mhm.
how I was saying, being too specific, that's where it is for me now. But some people just say like, money comes to me easily, and they haven't seen it happen to them easily. What I think is key, but a lot of people forget or don't mention, is like energy.
Wait,
So you have,
money comes to you what?
I say money comes to me easily.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
money comes to me easily. Money comes to me in multiple sources. Money
Mhm.
comes to me now and miraculously. I love spending money. It's easy spending other people's money. I know how
Yeah.
to spend all the money. And I'm saying that in terms of like, when people give you like funding. They're like, here's $500,000. Do you know how you're going to spend this money? Yup, I spend money
Sure do.
easily. I know how to spend that money. you know but the energy, we have a lot of energy. So if we spend a lot of time, if we think about it in terms of like a piggy bank, right? Every time we deposit a negative thought or whatever, that's like energetically going into this piggy bank. And then when you start to think differently, are you opening up the piggy bank? Are you shaking the piggy bank? Are you cracking the piggy bank? So you have to kind of like move around with that energy. And ways that was helping me specifically with money, because I was listening to hip hop, like I would put on a lot of Young Dolph and dance to the music that made me like really excited about money. So like getting paid
Mm.
and well, you don't know. Maybe we talked about it. I don't know. But like, I love the strip club, for instance. And so, strip club music is like, a lot of it is like twerking music, and they're talking about throwing money. Like, they're throwing $10,000 on you. I don't necessarily want $10,000 thrown on me in the strip club as a stripper, but like thinking of someone just, giving me $10,000 and I'm dancing because I like this beat, it really helped to kind of move that energy along. Not saying, again, I'm not a stripper. I didn't manifest that in my life, but I have received lump sums of money since, doing things. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, you just kind of never know what it could be like. And so I just encourage that. For me, it's dancing. Dancing helps, but stretching, as long as you're doing something to move that energy.
Look, keep them dollars coming, and that's gonna make me dance.
Yes, I love dance and make her dance. I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Period. I
So,
I absolutely think that dance, specifically twerk and affirmations, go really well together. There's a lot, or I don't know if it's a lot, but there is research out there about how twerking specifically is like something that is a healing um kind of dance to do. And it releases trauma, it releases tension trapped in the body. All of that is really good for you. So yeah, these things are absolutely tied together. And when we're shaking our bodies or when we're dancing, like that is even putting out a certain energy. We become, in tune with like certain frequencies when
mm-hmm,
we are free like that. It's
mm-hmm. It is. So I definitely encourage anybody that's listening who hasn't done that before to give it a try and see, and just be open to seeing how it changes you. You can start doing something small. Like, we all listen to music when we get in the shower.
mm-hmm.
You can try it there.
The safe space of the shower. We love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dang. Bianca, this has been such a wonderful conversation. You have so many awesome insights, everything that you have said, every experience that you have shared. I'm so thankful for, because they've been so relatable, and I needed to hear it too. I know somebody out here needs to hear it. So I really thank you for your vulnerability there as well. We've talked about your affirmations podcast a couple of times. Where can people find it? What is it called? Like, let us know.
Yes. Well, before I do that, I want to say, Salenna, thank you so much for opening up this space. You are so comfortable for me to
Oh,
talk to. I feel very comfortable talking to
I think we
you,
lost you.
and I'm just so glad that we met at that
Oh,
conference.
yeah. Sorry,
Honest,
I
did I
lost
break?
you.
Was I frozen?
I Yeah, it froze for a second. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So I was just saying, Salenna, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. You've created such a comfortable space for me to show up and be authentic and open and vulnerable. I'm so glad that I met you at the podcast convention. I don't think it was by accident or coincidence that we were the Healing Girls and we found each other. So thank you so much for just being like interested enough in having me on your podcast. I don't usually, I have an interview podcast myself, and so, or a conversation podcast, and I'm never really the one being asked to talk. I'm always asking people. So it's really nice to be on the other side of things. So thank you for giving me this
Yeah.
experience. But my podcast, my affirmations podcast, is called Walk It Like I Talk It with Bianca Lynn, because you know, we say we want these things, but we also have to make sure that our actions are aligned and like showing that we are ready to receive those things, being open, like we mentioned earlier. You can hear the affirmations wherever you listen to podcasts. And I actually started a Patreon this month because I do personalized affirmations. So if you listen to the podcast regularly and you like it and you'd like to hear affirmations that include your name, or maybe if there's something that you have happening, like you're a basketball player and you want some affirmations before the big game, that includes your name, you can find me on Patreon and hit me up there.
Yes. Get your personalized affirmations. I know that's right. It's such a privilege to live in a time and space where people who don't even live immediately near you can pour into you. So definitely find Walk It Like I Talk It podcast everywhere you can find podcasts. Support Bianca, support her page, support her Patreon, and y'all support the Black healers that you know in your community. Like, we are out here. We love ourselves, we love our community, we love our people, and like, let's do this together, y'all. I'm Salenna Green, and this is the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Y'all, I will see you next time. Or in community, use the hashtag Hot Girls Healing to find me and talk with me on social media. You can also follow me at Hot Girls Healing Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, I'll see y'all out there. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Since I know you're tired, since I know you're stressed, you were always favored, and you were always blessed. It's all about that. Hot girls healing. We doing it our way. Hot girls healing. We better day by day. Hot girls healing. We doing it our way. Hot girls healing. And it goes